am super excited to be back. Thank you for stopping by on this channel. Our concern is writing computer codes and applying the knowledge into creating amazing applications. If you like that idea, if you like to create amazing web applications for your mobile phones, iOS or Android, or different software applications, you want to be able to write codes and create them, then subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button wherever it is. I think it's there, right? So hit the subscribe button, click on the like for this video because it helps the algorithm, and then you want to have the notification bell turned on so that you aren't gonna miss any of the amazing and awesome content that we will always upload on this channel. Thank you very much. My name is Shadrach, and at the last video we started looking at HTML colors, and as you can see on your screen, we were able to use the color names to write these colors that you see there. Okay, so on this video we are not actually using the color names now. We are going to be using the RGB system, and so the RGB system basically represents the RG and B means red, green, blue. Without delay, let's go to our text editor and then explore the world of RGB. Okay, so this is the code we actually used. And so now the text editor I'm working with helps us a great deal, and it makes it easy for us to use the RGB system. Now my cursor has just been placed on the color orange, and in this color palette you will see RGB already there. That is red, green and blue, and in the parentheses you'll find three numbers. The first number is 255. That represents the amount of red that is applied, and so you need to know that when you're using the RGB system, 255 is the highest amount for that color. So it means that here we have the fullest, the highest, the most, however we want to say it, of red, the most amount of red. The G, which is this, the second digit, represents green, and that you can see is 165. That's the amount of green, and we have none of blue. So when I click on that, or I just simply type that here, then we're going to have the same color. However, instead of typing it there, what I'm going to do is I will copy all of this again, and I'm just going to copy them and use the RGB system to do that. But before that, let's do something here. Let's create a container here, and then we want to place everything, all of these other containers, we want to place them inside that very container. And this is because I want to put a border just to separate on the browser the section that has the color names, that's the predefined color names, and the section that has the RGB system. So to this very container here, I'm going to put the style, and I'm going to use the border, and we are going to say it should be 2 pixels, it should be solid, and it should be purple in color. So when we go to the browser, we are going to see that there is a container, or there is this border around that very container there, as you can see. So it means that the next container that I'm going to have, you can see here, this is the border around that color there. So it means the next container that I'm going to have will have, we're going to place a different color, and the container will surround that. Okay, so without delay, let's go ahead now, and we will quickly paste the code that I had copied in another container that we're going to give a border. So I'm going to say style for this container, and I'm going to give it a border and say it should be, let's say 5 pixels, because we notice how small the other one was. So 5 pixels, let's still say it should be solid, and here it should be green. So that's the color name we use here, and then we're going to paste all of this. So let's go to the text, to the browser rather, and take a look at what we have. So on the browser, we see we have a purple color here, and then we have the section with green color. I think I'll just make the purple color border, the purple colored border, I'll just make it a little bit bigger. Let's give it 5 there. Okay, now we're gonna be using the RGB color names. To the tomato, so we can see the RGB color is 2559971. And so watch what I'm gonna do. Instead of typing it, let me go ahead to type it here. I think that's the best thing to do for you to learn. So here is RGB, and once I do that, then I type the parenthesis, then the first set of color, the first which is red, and the other is 165 which is green, and the last one is the blue. So red, green, blue. That's that. Okay, let's go to the oh, that's for orange color. I was supposed to change it for tomatoes. Let's check the tomato color here. It is 255, as we can see, 99 and 71. So let's go and change 255. This is 99 and this is 71. So that gives us 71. Let's delete that. Okay, so that's tomato. And this one is orange. We're going to say RGB here. And the red is 255. And this is 165 and 0. Okay, so that's the orange, red. And so the same thing applies. Now we're going to quickly use the built-in color palette or the color selector and just click on this. When I click on it, I think it's going to give me the hexadecimal, which we're going to deal with later, or the HSL. But I'll keep clicking on it until I can see here RGB. Instead of the Dodger blue, I'm going to see RGB. So I click on that. This is the hexadecimal system, which we're going to deal with in subsequent videos. I click again the second time, it gives us the HSL system, and I do click again, it gives us that, and now here is the RGB system. So we can simply apply that to the other colors. Just click until you get the RGB system. And remember, the first digit represents red, the second green, and the third blue. So let's go to the gray color and just click. So you would notice for the gray, any shade of gray you like to get. I'll just say that now because we're going to deal with that later. So any shade of gray you like, you always will have the same value for the red, green, and blue. As you see here, this is it. If I change them again, it's going to give us a different shade of gray. So I can say, let's say 100 here, and here as well, 100. Gives us a shade of gray. If I say 10, it's going to give us a darker shade of gray. As we get close to 0, it's much darker. Okay, and the slate blue, we will just click on that until we get the RGB system. Violet, we're going to click on it until we get the RGB system. And please do the same to every other one. The last one here is orange, red. I passed that. Okay, good. So now let's get to our browser to see the result. So when you look at this now, you would notice that we have all the colors. I think what I should have done was to place them side by side. Okay, so we can compare. So now this is the tomato red, and everything here we can see tomato red, and the last color is orange red. So I believe that you understood the RGB system. Just before I end, I'm going to be talking about the RGBA system. Now, the RGBA, the A is an extension, actually, an extension of RGB. So that A represents what is called an alpha channel. Let's take a look quickly at that, the RGBA system. So it's like it brings opacity to the color. Now go into the text editor just quickly, and then we are going to now apply the RGBA system. So I'm going to leave the actual color names there, and then we will compare them to the RGBA system. So all you need to do is to add A after the B. Now there is this technique I'm going to place my cursor in multiple locations just so I don't have to type the A repeatedly. So I just have it here. I have the cursor blinking at that RGB, and to have it on this other side, I hold my Alt key. If you're on the Windows, we hold the Alt key, and then I just keep going to the various points I like the cursor to be. Here again, and also here. And so I can just type A, and it's going to be applied to all of them. So you can see it's all there. And then I'm going to move in and we need to indicate the digits for the alpha channel. The alpha channel has digits going from 0 to 1. 0 means completely transparent. 1 is completely opaque. That's completely opaque. So what I'm going to do is I have my comma here, and I'm going to say 0.5. So that makes it transparent in a way. And when you place your cursor on that, you will notice that this very column here has moved down to the middle, because 0.5 is halfway between 0 and 1. Let us go to the top where we actually use the color name for tomato, right? Go to the top, and I'm going to place my cursor. Observe that very bar there. This one, you will notice that it is at the top there, because this is completely opaque. If I bring it down, you see at about 0.5 you can see that opacity. But let's take it back, because we want to compare the colors, the color names with the RGBA system. And here I'm going to give this one 0.2. So let's say 0.2, it goes between 0 and 1. Here I'm going to give this 0.7, which is close to 1. And let's give to the gray. Let's try to make it black, right? Is that possible? Let's see. Okay, here. So 0.1. Okay, that's close to 0. And if I say 1, that's going to be so gray, completely gray. So it's completely opaque. And then we go to this other one here and say 0.6. Okay, I think we're good to go. We can compare the set of colors now with their actual color names. So as I move over to the browser, we are going to see the different colors. So these are the actual colors here. And when we go down, we're going to see that they are lighter. This is tomato, and you see it's has some transparency in it. And here you can see the full tomato color. Yeah, this is tomato color here. Let's go. So we can see that from this point we have the transparency applied there. But this does not really affect the text. It is not affecting the text. The text still have their full color displayed. Okay, this is wonderful. We've been able to look at RGB system and RGBA system. So as my custom is, I try not to make the videos so long. We are going to go to the next color system in the next video, which is the HSL color system. Thank you for being on this channel. Thank you for staying on to the end. And trust me, we are going to be applying this, all that we are learning, we're going to apply them in creating world-class, I always say amazing projects. Cheers to your success. See you in the next video. Goodbye.